The January 6th committee has been an exercise in armed political intimidation. How did it start? You may have forgotten. Congress formed the committee after several members of the U.S. Capitol Police, the same people responsible for protecting members of Congress, anonymously commanded them to do it. So effectively, it was a ransom note. Prosecute our political opponents. That's an order from your bodyguards. Amazingly, they did it. So from the very first day, the January 6th committee was never about gathering information. Obviously, Congress already has the information. Nancy Pelosi knows exactly how many federal agents were in the crowd that day. She won't tell us. Pelosi could release thousands of hours of videotape evidence from January 6th. She refuses to do that. So whatever else this is, don't let them lie to you. This is not a fact-finding effort. This is a highly obvious attempt to punish critics of the Democratic Party. And for months, that's exactly what the committee has been doing. Using the pretext of January 6th, Biden's Justice Department has indicted former Trump advisor Steve Bannon. What? What was his crime exactly? Oh, talking about election fraud on a radio show. That's illegal now. Pelosi's January 6th committee had him arrested. Liz Cheney, by the way, who is being used as a Republican cover for all of this, stood back and watched it happen. Liz Cheney should be ashamed, but she's become far too degraded for shame, unfortunately. And Bannon, by the way, is not the only prominent Republican who might go to jail. The committee has now subpoenaed several former Trump advisors, as well as the fiancé of another. They've even subpoenaed Roger Stone yet again. Where was Stone on January 6th? He was in a hotel room as the Capitol was being breached. He had literally nothing to do with it. But it doesn't matter. He's criticized Joe Biden. He could be going to jail again. Now the committee has decided to shut down one of the most popular journalists on the right, Alex Jones. Yes, journalist. Jones is often mocked for his flamboyance, but the truth is he has been a far better guide to reality in recent years. In other words, a far better journalist than, say, NBC News national security correspondent Ken Delanian or Margaret Brennan of CBS. Alex Jones never bought the Russia hoax, not for a second. And if Jones sat down with Tony Fauci, he would ask him real questions, just as journalists are supposed to do. He wouldn't just slobber all over him. But Alex Jones makes fun of Joe Biden, so the January 6th committee is threatening him with prison. Now, the irony here, and there are many layers of irony here, but the main one is that Alex Jones isn't simply innocent of inciting crime on January 6th. Alex Jones actively worked to prevent crimes from taking place on January 6th. We're not running interference for Alex Jones, and we're not guessing about it. We happen to know this for a fact because we looked into it in some detail for Patriot Purge. It's our three-part documentary series on Fox Nation. Here are the facts.
So the Republican Party, I just want them to hear this message. Look at this crowd. We are the people that you must represent, or we're going to replace you with patriots.
And so that's what January the 6th was all about. It was just about making sure that if you called yourself a conservative, that you stood with the conservative movement. And unfortunately, it spiraled out of control. We coordinated with the U.S. Capitol Police nearly every day. A lot of people don't know that Stop the Steal actually had a permit on the Capitol grounds. So not the Capitol itself and not the Capitol Plaza, the Capitol grounds, Lot 8. We had a permit. So let's just imagine this. 20 to 50,000 people inside the President's Park. We're sitting there at the very front. I'm dead center of the president, front row. A Trump campaign staffer walks up to me and says, you know, Ali, there are people leaving the overflow, and there are already tens of thousands of people at the U.S. Capitol. With your presence and the presence of Alex Jones, why don't you guys walk down Pennsylvania, gather people together,
we're coming, swamp creatures,
and then position them for your rally on Lot 8. I wasn't at the Capitol when it descended into chaos. And that's only by God's grace, because I was scheduled to be there. Secret Service let us out at a point where we would have been there when the first punch was thrown. And that's strange. The only reason that we weren't there is because we stopped and gave an impromptu speech.
We're building America up. We're here to take our rightful country back peacefully.
I get a text from the campaign that you should get there and de-escalate because things are not going well. So we started to approach the side of the Capitol where no protests had happened in November, no protests had happened in December. all I thought was, I need to get them to the other side, and I need to get them to Lot 8.
Let's march around to the other side.
And all we have equipped with are megaphones.
And let's not fight the police and give the system what they want.
Maybe 1,000 people are listening to us.
Come off the stands.
Out of 75 to 100,000 people there in front of us. And it was a very helpless feeling.
We need to not have the confrontation with the police. They're going to make that the story.
So the trailer for that documentary got a lot of attention. If you haven't seen the documentary itself, we think that you should. It's called Patriot Purge. We think it is the most comprehensive, the most honest, the most fact-based account of what actually happened on January 6th and what has happened on the basis of January 6th.
Christmas Day 2021 is almost here. And I want to encourage our amazing listeners and viewers who have changed the world through your support of InfoWars to help take this fight against tyranny to the next level. And that's what Reset Wars does. We've extended the sale of 25% off on the course, Mind Wars, Spirit Wars. It's 2 courses in 1 until Christmas Day. Ladies and gentlemen, help give your friends, your family, your neighbors the gift of being aware of how the globalists are manipulating them and trying to break their will. And please give yourself and the whole world the gift of keeping InfoWars on the air at this critical time. Without your support, we would have already been shut down. With your support, we're not just going to stay on air. We're going to take the fight to the next level, because now is the historic point. Now is the inflection point, and it's all about Reset Wars. 25% off through Christmas Day at resetwars.com. Get the course now.